But there's other important news we're following, including more now on that raid on the Gaza flotilla. Is it helping to drive a wedge between Israel and the United States? I spoke about that and a lot more with Israel's ambassador here in Washington, Michael Oren. I want to read to you from Haaretz the other day, the Mossad chief, Meir Dagan. And I'll read the first couple sentences. Mossad chief Meir Dagan said on Tuesday that Israel is progressively becoming a burden on the United States. Quote, Israel is gradually turning from an asset to the United States to a burden, said Dagan, speaking before the Knesset's Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee. You know there are some officials here in the Obama administration who believe that what you're doing now is creating a burden to the United States as opposed to a strategic asset to the United States.
Mayor Dagan's quote, which was taken out of context, and he was quick to say, to give you the correct context. He was saying that there were certain people in Washington who thought this. He does not think that Israel has become a liability to the United States.
But there are officials in Washington who believe that Israel is becoming a liability.
I don't encounter anybody in the Obama administration who remotely thinks that. There are some people in think tanks running around here in this city who may think that. But in the Obama administration, all I do is encounter a tremendous amount of appreciation for the strategic alliance between Israel and the United States, to say nothing of the democratic alliance.
Because General Petraeus was testifying. He seemed to suggest that, as you know, the commander of the U.S. Military Central Command.
And he, too, said he was taken out of context. He said that a solution to the Arab-Israeli conflict would ease the general conflict between the Middle East and the West. And we certainly agree with that. We sign on to the desire for an end to the conflict between ourselves and the Palestinians, the Arab world, the Muslim world.
Here's what the former U.S. ambassador to Israel, Dan Kurtzer, wrote in the Washington Post over the weekend. Israel and the United States are seeing the threat environment in the region and the ways to deal with the threat environment in increasingly different ways. And for the United States, that means Israel is a problem as an ally heading in a very different direction. You know Dan Kurtzer.
I know, and
he's
I like
no
him
enemy of Israel. He's no opponent of Israel.
Not at all.
Is that a factually accurate statement that he makes?
It is not. And here's an example we had this week of Israel's interception of this flotilla. The conflict with the 70 paid mercenaries from a radical Islamic organization that encountered our soldiers, beat them. And during that period, and I'm telling from the inside, I was involved in this from 2 o'clock in the morning last Monday morning, I never heard a single word of criticism from anybody in this administration, never heard a word of rancor. No one came up to me and say, why are you approaching it this way instead of that way? The whole approach was, we see we have a problem. Let's work together to try to better facilitate the blockade. Because the last thing anybody wants to happen is for have Hamas access to tens of thousands of rockets. It's a dire threat to Egypt, a dire threat to Israel. It's the end of the peace process. A
lot of people in Israel don't like President Obama, do they?
I think that President Obama is widely misunderstood in Israel, and I think that once the president comes to Israel and reaches out to the Israeli people, I think he'll prove to be as popular, if not more popular, than any previous president.
When's he coming?
Yeah. You have to ask that to the people in his White House, not the Israeli embassy.
Have they rescheduled Prime Minister Netanyahu's visit to Washington yet?
We're looking forward to a visit in the near future.
Within weeks?
In the near future.
All right. Mr. Ambassador, you got a lot going on. Thanks very much for coming in.